you take a piece of paper and rip it in half, you now have two pieces. Here's the revelation. Satan has somebody that is perfect for you. God has somebody that will perfect you. These two pieces of paper are not identical. They are not equal. If you look real close, you'll see they all have their edges, and just rough edges, little creases in and out, same thing on both sides. We are actually like these pieces. We are not perfect. We all have our balances and unbalances. We all have our characteristics. We often think the person that God has for us is going to be equal to us. No. If you take this piece of paper, take this piece of paper, if you line them up, you'll see they actually match and they form one whole unit. We all have our own balances. We all have our jagged edges. No one's perfect. We all have our good attributes. We all have our bad attributes. So basically, the person who God has for you, they're not going to be perfect, but they're going to perfect you. These two pieces of paper perfect one another. They're not perfect for each other because they are not identical nor are they equal, but they perfect each other. Woman of God, your husband will not be perfect for you. Man of God, your wife will not be perfect for you. Because if they were perfect, they wouldn't be able to perfect you. So in essence, you're actually perfect for them by way of your perfection of them. That's how this works. We're not perfect in and of ourselves, but we perfect. God perfects that other individual through us. So again, your wife will actually perfect you, man of God. Woman of God, your husband will perfect you. He's not perfect, but he'll perfect. There is a difference. Because if they're perfect for you, that means now. That means present tense. That means as of right now, they're perfect. Everything lines up, quote unquote. But to perfect just implies time. It implies a duration. It implies a lifespan. It doesn't just imply 2 months or 3 weeks and it's over. To perfect is a continual operation. It's a continual process. Not a boyfriend, not a girlfriend. Only that one person that God has for you will perfect because God perfects. And we also have this mindset of the whole be not unequally yoked. The equaling is in the yoking, not the people. To have an equal yoke is to have the yoke be equal, not the people. That means you will not be equal to your husband or wife. Because if the both of you were equal, then that would actually mean your yoke is actually unbalanced. Hence, your yoke would not be equal. Because you have to see this thing as two weights on a scale. If you guys are equal, it's not necessarily you guys have the same weight and you're balanced. But if you guys were equal and identical, that means you guys are actually on the same side of the scale. Because you match. So it's not an issue of weight, it's an issue of positioning. Here's some examples. They're never on time. You always try to be on time. They see things big picture, and you actually focus on the details of things. They're more long term, they can see what God's going to do, they see everything in the future, but you for some reason can't really see that far, but you're able to analyze the details of what's immediate, and they have problems seeing the short term. They know they're going to get there, but you know how they're going to get there. That's also why they're generic, and you're really analytical, or vice versa. You just like to keep things simple, and they always have to analyze everything. That's why you're sensitive. And they're rock hard in their emotions. They never waver. You always waver. It's not necessarily good, bad, right, wrong. But it is for this thing to be balanced because as one unit, you are perfect. One unit, you are perfected. As one yoke, you are unstoppable. If they're big picture and you're small picture, as one unit, you guys are perfect because you have both capabilities. If you're really generic and they're really analytical. As one unit, you actually have left brain and right brain. That's why their weaknesses are your strengths. That's why your weaknesses are their strengths. That's why the things you failed in, they've actually succeeded or have the capability to do so. Or the things you've succeeded in, they failed in. It's a balancing act, quote unquote. Everything's not supposed to match. Not everything is supposed to line up. It's because of all these little unbalances that go all the way down your ridge. They match perfectly with that. And as one unit, you're perfect. Your yoke is actually balanced because of all your individual unbalances. Because you connect and you form and you can actually grip. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be equal. But you as one unit, you as one yoke is perfect. You as one yoke is equal. You as one yoke is equal and perfect and whole and complete. These are my words after Revelation. Rethink how you think.